Hi everyone. On December 22nd, the Orthodox Church celebrates the memory of the holy and great martyr Anastasia, the deliverer from potions. Now, Anastasia was a wealthy and comely young maiden who was also someone who was quite moral, had great integrity, had great manners, and, well, probably all of these other things that seem to be so lacking in so many people today. She is not to be confused with another Anastasia, also from Rome, who is commemorated on October 29th. But this present Anastasia had a man named Chrysogonus, who would actually turn out to be a martyr, as her instructor in piety. And so from early on, she came to desire the things of the Lord. She would even take off all of her rich apparel that she was made to wear so much of the time, and she would then dress in rags or in a very scattered-looking fashion in order that she might go to the prisons, where she went and encouraged many of those who were suffering for Christ, bound their wounds, tried to heal them as best she could, and generally did those things that the Lord has instructed us in the Gospel of Matthew that we shall be judged on. So Chrysogonus was a great help to her. But even he couldn't stop her father, who decided to have her married to a pagan man whom she absolutely detested. She wanted nothing of it. She had determined early on to maintain her virginity, and so after their wedding, she feigned a very, very difficult illness in order to keep herself out of the marital bed. As time went on, though, Chrysogonus had even predicted that she would be freed from this marriage, and so it came to pass. Diocletian, who was the emperor then, and in whom his reign that Anastasia lived, which was probably somewhere in the late 3rd to early 4th centuries, Diocletian sent her husband off on an errand somewhere at a different post, and he was killed on the way. And that freed Anastasia to maintain her Christian life and to pursue the things of the Lord. She went through many trials and many tribulations. She was very bold in her confession of faith, which upset many people, especially in officialdom. And she was persecuted many, many different times. But it was the last time that she met her end, because there was a certain prefect who had heard about her wealth and her riches and went to her and tried to convince her to basically give him her alms. She refused to do this, and in fact she said, it's obvious that you are someone who is quite wealthy, and so anyone giving you alms is just wasting their time and their money. This upset the man, and so he had her thrown into prison. She was there for a number of days, and one of the former saints, Theodota, who had already reposed in the Lord, came to visit her, to encourage her. Finally she was released, but yet the prefect, upon seeing that nothing had happened in terms of changing her mind about anything, had her and a companion put in a boat that he filled with holes, hoping to drown the two of them. Well, this blessed Saint Theodota, whom Anastasia had such veneration for, was sent by the Lord to help steer the boat to safety. And many of the people who witnessed this, who had actually put this boat full of holes into the water, well, they were absolutely convinced of her sanctity, and there were about 129 of these men that came to Christ because of her. Upon hearing this prefect was even more disturbed, as you can imagine. And so finally, Anastasia was tied down to stakes, and she was burned to death, where she gave up her soul to the Lord. Her popularity has been ever increasing since the time of her death. There have been many great churches, including one in Constantinople itself at the time, or many years later, that was raised up to her. And she is considered even today a holy and great martyr, who is someone to invoke at all times of distress and all times of discouragement. Because even when she was undergoing so many of these horrendous trials, and I've mentioned only one of them, but there were many, many more. Even then, she maintained great encouragement and joy in the Lord. She encouraged other martyrs during her day to be bold in their confession of faith. And yet this was not hypocrisy, because when it became her own time to give up her life for the Lord, she maintained that same resolute strength in all things which she knew that Christ could do through her. Bye-bye.